this was going to be where my next video took place in my last video, and I mentioned that I really enjoy Raleigh layovers, and one of you commented wondering why I liked it so much because you live here or close to here. And really the reason why I like Raleigh layovers so much is because I really like the hotels. Right now I'm on a shorter layover, about 13 hours. So we are at the short layover hotel. And I really like this hotel, for a couple of reasons. One, it's one of the hotels where you get like a whole suite. So I have like a little living room area with a couch and a TV and a chair and an ottoman and a table. And then I have a bathroom, which includes a bathtub and a shower and a nice vanity. And across from that is like a whole kitchen area with a fridge, microwave, bar, countertop, sink, all that jazz. And then you have the large bedroom with balcony, so it just feels very apartment-like. Like you're living here instead of being in a hotel. It's very cozy. The other reason why I like it is that the short hotel does evening receptions, and at the evening receptions there's a little punch card that you get on check-in. You get a couple of free drinks, and there's snackies. So we got into the hotel just in time for that. Came upstairs, changed, went downstairs, met up with my crew, had some drinks. And FAA, if you're watching, remember that I said we were on a 13-hour layover, and everybody had their drinks within an hour of arrival to the hotel, which means we still had about 12 to 13 hours until the departure of our next flight, which is far and away in excess of the 8-hour legality. So no worries there. And then as snacks, I basically just ate tons of broccoli with ranch. I felt like I needed veggies, but I couldn't go too healthy. Still had to have ranch. Because earlier today, my first flight of the day, I did get a crew meal. And I just kind of picked at it. I ate the charcuterie plate, and I ate like the fruit and the dates, because I'm still kind of gross and congested from being sick on Thanksgiving. But for some reason there were like multiple points during the day today where I was like, am I actually sick? So I was just eating like fruits and veggies, drinking a lot of water. And then when we got to the crew lounge in Orlando, because we had a few hours of sitting in that airport, I had like a chia seed pudding with the fruit on top, and then lots of broccoli at the hotel. And now I'm feeling better. And I took a bath. My back has been hurting lately. I took a bath at my apartment the other day, and I've been sleeping on the top of my heated blanket to try to fix my back, which seems she flies at my airline. But she was an amazing person to have on my first ever flight because she actually had experience where I didn't, and she just like mothered me. And we have actually flown together several times before, at least 3. And somebody always asks if we're mother and daughter because we also do kind of look alike, so it's very cute. So I remember hanging out with her and our other crew member on our long layover in Raleigh, eating food. I think I got some macarons at some point. It was just a good time. Every time it's a good time when I've come here, and the hotels are nice. And it's just relaxing and nice, and I like it. But if you remember my last video, like a perfume review with hard candy, 2 items that I got while flying. Well, today we got more cute little things. I had a passenger who's not flown my airline in a while and was very excited to be back, which I love that. Older gentleman, and he was very into aviation. He had like a bunch of trivia questions for me, and we were just chatting. It was a shorter flight, and he finished this book and he gave it to me, which is something super sweet that's happened a couple of times. Like, there's a video by Jeannie B. If you don't watch Jeannie B ASMR, you need to. Just an amazing channel. I love Jeannie B. She also is married to a pilot, and she travels a lot. And she has a video giving travel tips, and one of the things that she talks about is like nice things that you can do for your flight crew. And one of the things that she mentions be able to pull off. Anytime I dance, it's just a lot of elbows, not a lot of movement, a lot of two-stepping and elbows. But I definitely want to read this book. I gotta finish a book that I'm reading right now, and then this one will be on my list. I think I could learn a little bit from this. I like to think that I'm poised and not glamorous. I don't know if I would give myself that title, but I like to think that I'm poised and have good etiquette while I'm working. But I bet I could learn a lot from this firsthand account of flying during the golden age of travel. So, I'm excited to read it. And that's just so sweet. That's very thoughtful. The same passenger also brought an entire cheesecake for our whole crew. Like, he was so excited to be back to flying my airline. So yeah, we shared that downstairs at cocktail hour. And we all just kind of talked, debriefed our entire day. This is a pretty easy day. 2 flights. Minneapolis to Orlando. Sat in Orlando for about 4 hours in between flights, and then Orlando to Raleigh, Durham. And tomorrow we do the exact opposite. Raleigh, Durham to Orlando. No sitting in Orlando. Straight to Minneapolis, and then done for the day. I'll be done by like 1:30 p.m. Flying to Orlando is fun because there's usually a lot of kids on the flight who are excited to be going to Disney World. I think it's Disney World. I know it's Disneyland affiliated, but I think the one in Orlando is like the Big Papa Disney World. I think there's Universal Studios in Orlando too. So there's always like young families, little kids on your flights to Orlando that are super excited. We usually fly that trip on a narrow body aircraft, a domestic aircraft with only one aisle, 2 rows of seats. But it happens not infrequently where that flight will be so oversold because of the amount of family vacationers going because this